You rely on us. Science wants everybody to, science says, they want everybody to rely on science. Let me make something clear. There's publicly known medical research in science, and there's classified medical research in science. Okay? Classified medical research in science, the Illumination, oh man, do they run everything. And they make everybody here, their lives miserable on planet Earth, whether you know it or not. Whether you know it or not. And then they delve out little bits and pieces when they want to publicly known medical research and science, which really doesn't know anything. And I was the first to clarify classified versus public. Because nobody knows and knew. Medical science and research is so wrapped up. Science wants us to rely on it. Medical science wants us to rely on it because it's supposed to be God, greater than God. It's supposed to have all the data, all the facts. Everything's supposed to be perfect. Don't doubt science. Don't ever doubt medical science. Don't ever doubt medical research. How many people go into the emergency room right now, today, now, heart going like this, body freaking out, tremoring and shaking, head kind of like twitching. They go all the tests, all the CAT scans, the MRIs, they do everything, and then they can't do anything for them, and they send them home. Right? Science doesn't have our back. It's a weapon. It's been weaponized. That's what it's been. It's used for reasons now, purposes, never anymore to really save anybody's life. Those days are gone. They've used science for that. You get into a car crash, they've used science to figure out how to put your bones together, right? How to take an x-ray. They've already gotten all there. Now science has been weaponized in bad ways. Now it's all about everything's your genes and genetic research and genetic manipulation. Science is now working for darkness. That's what science does now. That's what it does. And medical science just wants you to rely on medical science. God forbid you rely on anything else, like relying on a medical device, or relying on something like celery, or taking your health in your own hands, or taking your health in your own empowerment. No, bad. Science is the ultimate cult. The cult of the century. It's the Jim Jones cult of today. You say the word science, oh, you better just shut down. Better just shut up. Science. It's used, it's weaponized, it's used as a manipulation tool. It's used as a gaslighting tool. How about that? Right? The term gaslighting is what it is. And don't you step out of line. Don't you step, oh, you can eat healthy. Yeah, it's good to, eat healthy. That's okay. It's about as far as science will let you go. But you can't take health in your own hands. You can't. Science doesn't want that. It doesn't. Lorraine L., I saw that, the gaslighting, right? Science is the ultimate gaslighter of the century, and it's going to rule the roost and torture people to the end. In this century right now, in just the next 10 years, you're going to watch science do more damage to humankind than you have ever witnessed in your life. More damage to our children than you have ever seen before in your life. Science has already damaged our children like no one has ever seen before with autism and ADHD. So wait till you see in the next 5 or 10 years what science does. Millions are pouring into emergency rooms today, right now, last week, with neurological conditions, neurological problems. and getting no answers. And that's where science is. And then they send you home after giving you a steroid or a benzodiazepine, and they send you home, and that's it, you're done. Now you're off into alternative science, which is also a tricky place. You don't believe me? You think everybody's all good and happy and everybody's all on the side of making sure, humanity and alternative science? Are you kidding? Alternative science, the amount of traps, it's epic now as it is. Whole nother game right there. Science seems to have it all together until you're at the emergency room and you can't get an answer. That's what's happening right now. Millions are going to the emergency rooms around the world. I know. I talk to emergency room doctors. They've been friends of mine for years. They've never seen anything like it in our history. And all they can do is just turn people away. They're like, we don't know. Take this benzodiazepine and get out of here. Oh, take this anxiety medication. We don't know. Or take this medication, the steroid. I don't know what to do for you. Take this antibiotic. I don't know what to do for you. Just go home and shake to death home. You deal. Just live with yourself. Just whatever it is, you just go home. If anyone doubts there's evil in the world, they're delusional. Absolutely delusional. Is there new exposure? Because that's what happens, right? Are you exposed to copper? That's what happens to people. Did you get a new medical treatment? Any kind of new medical treatment? Like, hello? I gotta watch what I say here. Yeah. Any kind of brand new medical treatment? Okay, just kind of looking out here. What? A new medical treatment? There's one out there now? Shots. You guys on Clubhouse, guys on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, when you get B12 shots, you can become allergic to B12. I've talked about this in the past. Your body can build an antibody against B12, making you in trouble with B12. If you had that before, it's okay. That can be turned around. Go to your doctor and you say, hey, I only want to be on B12, oral B12. You can change things up and it turns things around. Michelle L. said B12 shots killed her. You seem fine to me, Chris. Chris says, wow. Good to see you. So, me personally, I would never, ever take a B12 shot. Vitamin B12 in a needle going into the body, into the arm, into the leg, into the butt, whatever. That's me personally. So I have my friends and family do the oral B12. And as far as vitamin C goes, enjoy it while it's here, because it won't be down the road. But enjoy it while it's here. So why am I talking about this? A lot of people are going to have the access to vitamin C years down the road. But we're going to have celery. We're still going to have celery access for a while. I really believe that. And eventually that's going to get weird. And they're going to halt the farming productions down. They're going to put orders to make sure farms aren't allowed to grow that much celery. Probably going to spin some lies that celery crops are damaging the planet. Because celery juice is one of our tickets. One of our tickets to health freedom. To health freedom. What's happening right now is people are falling ill everywhere. Neurological symptoms, brain-related symptoms, even if they don't know that's what it is or not. Okay? And they're falling ill. That's where we're heading. So as I keep on saying, the next 5 years, the amount of sick people and everybody having a problem is going to be unbelievable. And I say that all the time because that's how it's going. Alzheimer's and dementia. All right, now some people will just be like, hey, I don't have Alzheimer's. I'm not worried about that. I'm never going to get Alzheimer's. There's a lot of people now that are 20 years old and 25 years old. They're going to have Alzheimer's. They're going to have it. Alzheimer's is going to be one of the big boys down the road. Dementia and Alzheimer's. What people are going to see is people aren't going to just be dying. They're not going to be dying of cancer and heart disease all the time or stuff like that's not going to be the leading things in the end when they're 80 years old or whatever. They're going to be sick and dying of Alzheimer's and dementia at 60 years old, 50 years old, 40 years old. We're going to go into a place in the next 10, 15 years where everybody's like, not everybody, but so many people are getting Alzheimer's or versions of it and versions of dementia, brain rot. And I talk mushrooms as well. Here's the sad thing. Let me just give it to you guys straight. Here's the sad thing. The amount of sickness we're about to see is going to be unreal. But the media is not going to be talking about it. Just pretending everything's same as always, everything's fine, everything's good. But the amount of sickness coming, it's going to be even more than unprecedented than before. I think it's strange that it's a new normal. Endometriosis. If you don't have endometriosis as a woman, that's strange. Really strange. Right? But guess what? Every single woman's getting endometriosis. That's where it's heading. What happened? Did an extraterrestrial come down and all of a sudden grant that condition on every single woman coming up? You know, it's the new norm. I can keep going. Headaches are the new norm. Anxiety is the new norm, right? Yeah. So the bottom line is, we're coming to a place where it's all going to be about everybody being sick. All the social media channels are going to be about everybody being sick. Okay? All the TV shows coming out in the future are going to be about everybody being sick. Right? And everyone's going to have a symptom. Hello, how are you today? What kind of symptom do you have? Hello, Mrs. Robinson? How are you today? What kind of symptom? Oh, you have a migraine? You have anxiety? You have depression? You guys are being trained to accept being sick is the new normal and not question it and not question research and science. Every time you hear research and science, you have to bow. You have to bow. Yeah, so anyway, but we still got more to go and more to do. Yeah. You guys, the industry sit there and they mastermind a way to keep you guys tricked, fooled, and duped. The wool being pulled over your eyes. It's constant all the time. And it's happening in alternative medicine. It's just not just conventional medicine. And it's supposed to be the new normal, and you're never supposed to doubt it or question it. And you're never supposed to think science and research is missing a beat. You're never supposed to think that they failed the heck out of everything, that they failed us, that they're failures, absolute failures in chronic illness, right? When someone's literally laying in their bed, they've seen 10 neurologists and they can't function and nobody knows really what's wrong and they have 10 theoretical diagnoses, they failed them. That's what that is. It's not the doctor that failed them. It's science and research that failed the doctors and failed the patients, right? And I believe in science and research. I do. It's not that I don't. Okay? But in chronic illness, they have failed miserably. Denial is a place where science and research lives. Then, here's how it works with science and research. The industry itself spends billions to make sure they police you. You're policed so that everywhere you go, you believe they have your back and they have all the answers and everything's perfect in science and research world. That's how it's staged. And the minute you get sick, the blame is on you. It's your fault, Clubhouse. It's all your fault. You guys are sick on Clubhouse? It's your fault. Yeah, it's your fault you're sick. That's right. You guys are sick on YouTube, Facebook, your fault. Totally your fault. Science research, they have all the answers apparently. They know everything. So you being sick, it's your fault. TikTok, you guys, it's all your fault. That's how it's set up to be. So you're not allowed to question the new normal where everybody's sick. And mark my words now, here and now, you guys haven't seen anything yet to what's coming in the next 3 to 5 years, never mind the next 6 months, okay? And science research, where are they going to be? They're going to catch us? Are they going to catch us when we fall? Oh, don't worry. They're going to catch us when we fall. Yeah, science and research. Well, you guys, I'm going to get my science and research blanket because they're going to take care of me. Hold on. I got to get my science and research blanket really quick, okay? Yeah, okay. You guys, I got to get my science and research blanket. Oh my God. My science and research blanket right here. Oh, science and research. Because everybody's immune system is challenged. That's the day and age we're in. We're in the age of the quickening right here. This is the quickening where shit just speeds up and speeds up and speeds up. Stuff is happening real fast out there, and sickness and disease is climbing at an all-time high, and it's staying climbing and climbing and climbing. 2030, so many people are going to be sick. 2035, it's going to be unbelievable on how many people are going to be sick. Everybody's going to be sick, and everybody's going to be unsocial talking about their sicknesses. That's what's going to happen. It's going to dominate social entirely to a point where all articles out there, all the media is going to be talking about sickness. Everybody's going to be talking about sickness stories. This is just what it's going to be by 2030. Nothing but sickness, sickness, sickness everywhere. And that's the world we live in. That's the world we're going to be living in. And that's how crazy it really is when you really think about it, right? I mean, did you ever expect that? Did you ever expect that? Yeah, you're not alone. More people are getting sicker and sicker. And by 2030, people aren't even going to believe what's going to happen. And by 2040, it's going to be unreal.
Oh, and I go down that rabbit hole. I've been down there for a very long time, and it's a very terrifying thing, the future, especially 2030. 2020 was bad enough, 2030. And if you don't think that poisoning our food system and what we are eating and all the crap was an agenda, well, you don't have to.
Think again.
Right. Yeah. Think again. Because they, meaning the people who have, put these fast food restaurants out, put sugar in everything, know that's highly addictive, know how sick it makes you. Why? When you're sick, then you're a customer. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Somebody comes on and goes, what happened? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm going to talk about foods a little bit, but I'm also going to talk about brain problems because I don't know if you guys are seeing it out there, right? Anyway, Spirit of Compassion told me back, 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago or something like that, that there was going to be this onslaught of just deterioration, people getting chronically ill in so many ways, neurologically and so forth, and it was going to be just quite a ride, and that's where it's heading, and it is heading that way. And you'll see, like, there's studies out there, like scientists say that 40% of the people now have this, or 60% of the people are getting sick with this and that. They've never seen anything like this. It's unprecedented. Yeah. So you'll see that out there. And at the same time, really, the reality is it's more. People are getting sick. They're getting brain sick. It is disturbing. It is disturbing on a lot of levels, because when someone's brain is getting messed up for some reason or another, and we're going to cover some of those things, it can open the door for anything, all kinds of different problems. So it's toxic heavy metals are really elevating like nobody's business in people's brains these days. It's a whole nother level, right? All that. And what you'll see out there is this. You'll see this now, right? This got popular. Forever chemicals, PFAs or whatever. Forever, chemicals. You'll see this whole thing out there about forever chemicals, and you'll see article after article and people will be talking about it. But forever chemicals, yeah, it's not something medical medium information talked a lot about, because that's bullshit compared to what's really in people's brains. That's bullshit compared to what people are really up against. And that's bullshit compared to what's really going on, like the reality and real problems, okay? So forever chemicals, sure, that's not a good thing. But you'll see it's the buzz right now. But it's a great distraction for what's really causing harm to people's neurological systems and their brain and their organs and everything else, their other organs. And that's the sad thing. But there's always some kind of hip, trendy, BS thing going on, and forever chemicals. Avoid these foods with forever chemicals. Avoid these foods that have this and that in it. And that, you'll hear that out there. It's like, okay, great. Glad you got that figured out. You're not supposed to spray crap that's, on pans and, cook your food, in aerosol cans filled with all kinds of crazy stuff. Sure, I get it. Duh. But really, it's much bigger than that. It's a viral explosion. I've always said it's plastics, right? That's another thing that's been a problem out there. I've always said it's radiation. That's another thing out there. So life-changing foods. I talked about the viral explosion and the metals and the radiation, right? The pesticides like DDT and everything that are still out there. And they're still using DDT, by the way. They're still using it all around the globe. That stuff is like still backlogged. I mean, they have like warehouses and warehouses filled with DDT from the 1950s and the 1940s and the 1960s. They have so much to use that they're still unloading it. They're unloading barrels of DDT with dates on the barrels, like 1951, 1952, and they're unloading these and selling them to on the black market to people. They're using it all around the world. They're using it as a pesticide, an insecticide. They're using it as for apartment buildings around the world. They're using DDT still, and that's how insane things are. So it's like, yeah, forever chemicals, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I hear that all the time now. It's like, don't worry about those. How about worrying about all the mercury and the lead and the cadmium and the copper that's going to people's brains and building up like crazy right now? How about worrying about other things? How about worrying about everybody's zinc deficiency? How about that? Their zinc deficiencies are just totally outrageous on the level people have zinc deficiencies. And then, worry about the viral explosion that's taking off, where people are getting neurologically sick because of viruses. Viral explosion and boom, metals, right? Those are the two big ones. And then, of course, there's all these solvents and all these pesticides and herbicides and fungicides, which are high in metals. And there's all these other different things that get in people's systems. Solvents are a big one right there. That's an antagonist. And then pharmaceuticals, right? Pharmaceuticals in water, pharmaceuticals in food, pharmaceuticals in everything, basically. It's in the air. It's in pool water. If you go swimming, it's in the beach. Pharmaceuticals are floating everywhere now, and that's another thing all on its own. But either way, there's a lot of different things that are getting into us and creating that dirty blood syndrome, which creates a dirty liver, which creates a dirty brain, which creates all of this, and we end up in trouble. So there's lots to talk about here. Did I just say changing times? We talking about ending times? What kind of times are we talking about? Because a lot of people are feeling like ending times are coming. A lot of people are feeling something's coming. Spirit of Compassion always called it the quickening. In these 40 years, I've been trying to get the word out since I was a kid, and Spirit of Compassion has been calling it the quickening. Spirit of Compassion has been calling it changing times. Is these changing times, okay, bring additional stress upon us, humankind goes into a deeper health deficit. If you don't think humankind is going into a deeper health deficit, then I got news for you. It is. And the funny thing is, too, a lot of those stats are just all being buried. There are more sicker people out there than anybody knows. And sure, you might be around people that aren't quite sick yet, but they got something going on, But whoa, is it getting worse and worse. Humankind goes into a deeper health deficit than during previous decades. This is the decade right here that we're in, where it's all shifting right now. And Spirit of Compassion saw that coming 5 years ago and forewarned me to forewarn everybody that we're going to see a level of sickness that we've never seen before. And guess what? It's going there. We're in it, and we're in that decade right now Wait till we get to 2030. Spirit of Compassion tells me that 2030 isn't a landmark of time because it lands on 3-0, or 2030 because it's the end of the decade. Spirit of Compassion says it's a year that's going to sum up a lot of what this decade really was about for a lot of reasons, and it's going to be extremely visible for so many people at that point of what's going on in the chronic illness world. Sickness now dominates the lives of billions of people. Medical medium shock therapies from SOC above, and take the book to your doctor, see what's right for you from your doctor. Medical medium shock therapies are here to help level the playing field where chemical and medical industries are playing dirty against humankind, and that's a big piece of it. The industries are playing dirty with humankind because you're just a number, is what you are. And everybody has a number assigned to them that they're not even aware of on planet Earth, because in the end, you're just literally a number to the evildoers. What I love about it, it's taking your health in your own hands. Doubt me? Then pick a juicer up. If not even this one, get a juicer and start juicing and change your life. And watch what happens when you start doing it. When you start juicing the celery juice.